Hello, everyone. Hello, Fernando. Welcome.
Ah, no, pero yo no tengo que estar acá.
Hi.
Hello, Adrian. How
Hi,
are
Mark.
you?
Doing well. How about you?
Very good, thank you. We are waiting just a couple of minutes to have Nico and Joe joining us. Adrian, you are the CCO of Eternity. You're also our moderator this morning. This session is about Inter Miami and XBTO, a landmark jersey partnership. We'll see the implication of the crypto in the soccer sphere in Miami, and very, very happy for this session and experts on the subject this morning.
Absolutely. And, it isn't just crypto touching soccer. I mean, crypto is touching every sport now. It's working its way into the popular lexicon across all major sports and leagues. Very interesting what's going on. So happy to have XBTO here.
Fantastic.
And Joe from the team.
Speaking of which, Joe, hello, welcome. And
Hi.
Nicolo, hi.
How are you?
Very, very,
Thank you
very
for having
well.
us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. I'll leave you, Adrian, with your experts and anything you need. You have the chat on the right-hand side of the window. So please, everybody watching, feel free to ask questions to our experts. We will tackle probably the questions towards the end of the session. Yet, feel free to ask them anytime you have them popping in your mind.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. And hi, everybody. Welcome to this panel on Inter Miami and XBTO, a landmark jersey partnership. There's interesting things happening all around Miami, of course, as we know, on the tech front, and especially on the crypto vertical. So I myself, I'm a Miami Beach native, longtime resident down here. Grew up here, went away for school and lived abroad for work, etc. And then worked in media for a long time, and then got into crypto about 5 years ago. And we started Eternity, a big NFT company. About half our company is based here in Miami. So we're happy to be creating jobs and contributing to the ecosystem. And one of the big public-facing roles of sports leagues and community down here is when a team like Inter Miami makes a big splash and splashes a crypto company's name on their jersey. So that's exactly what happened last season. We saw, FTX was early to the party and got the naming rights to the arena. Today we have huge news. The Staples Center in Los Angeles, housing the historic Los Angeles Lakers, is now being called the Crypto.com Arena. So let's introduce Nico Zini from Inter Miami and Joe Hagenmiller from XBTO. Guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you do, and then we can get into the panel.
Go ahead, Nico.
Partners first. Oh, I was gonna say partners first. I was gonna give you the right to start, but I'll start. That's fine. Nico Zini, Senior Director of Partnership here at Inter Miami. Thank you for having us. I joined Inter Miami 8 months ago, so obviously was part of this beautiful process with Joe and the rest of the XBTO team. Formerly FC Barcelona, I was the head of Americas out of the New York office. So I've been, coming a long way in the sports industry, and obviously was a very interesting property to work for. Very excited about the landscape, and obviously South Florida and crypto was the way to go for us right from the bat.
There you go, Joe.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Joe Hagenmiller. I'm the COO of XBTO. I've been with XBTO 8 months. Nico and I may have started on the same day with our respective organizations. Didn't know that. But my background is in traditional finance. I was an equity derivatives trader at a couple of major Wall Street firms, and then I ran a systematic quant hedge fund. I'm like many people here at XBTO in the sense that I have a very technical background and very focused on kind of the math and quant side of investing. I've known the founders of XBTO for over a decade. And the reason I think they wanted me on board is because I have experience in running a business and helping strategize for the long term. And part of that is on the marketing side. And before our deal, I was tasked with figuring out how to go from a very inwardly looking company to kind of exposing us to the world. So it was natural for us to look at sports partnerships, and we were fortunate to be in Miami at the right time. So we started talking to Inter Miami, and I guess we're going to go into that a little bit. But I personally am a huge soccer fan, so it's a good fit for me, and it's a great fit for XBTO.
There you go. And also, we've got a note, because it's the French American Chamber of Commerce of Florida. You've got a Paris office. Talk about that. So there is a French connection for XBTO, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, literally, we have approximately 80 people working here, and the majority of them, over 40, are French. We have a deep French history, to the extent that any crypto company has history. Our founder, Philippe Bacassi, is French. Our chief technology officer, Rashad Idris, is French. And our largest office by number of people is in Paris. And I am fortunate enough to go about once a quarter and enjoy being in Paris. But that's really the tech and the programming hub, which is very important to our business. And it's indeed in France.
There you go. I can remember South Beach wasn't South Beach before 1992, and it was really built by an influx of French developers and French cultural leaders who set up shop in South Beach and really contributed, along with some Italians, just like Nico, and some Germans and some Brits, who really contributed to the reemergence of South Beach and what is now obviously a staple of the ever-growing and ever-expansive Miami landscape. So let's dive in. Speaking of expansion, we're talking crypto and major sports leagues and Miami. You were part of this catalyst where FTX, as we said, named the Miami Heat Arena, got those naming rights. That was a big deal. But Inter Miami is such an internationally recognized brand because of obviously the David Beckham connection and the big splash that it made, because Miami didn't have a soccer team. So everything was new. Nico, talk about the search where you guys, were tasked with naming rights to a jersey, which in soccer is huge. In American football, American basketball, American baseball, that's not up for grabs, but in soccer, it's tradition almost. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that as we all know, and we all love soccer, the brand that is connected to the apparel, to the first team jersey, it's probably the most important partner in the soccer landscape, and it's something that has been this way for a long time, and obviously other leagues now are trying to maximize that exposure on their apparel. But for soccer, it's natural, right? So if you think about back in the days, and you think about the great Manchester United jerseys, of the Barcelona jerseys, you always have that connection with that brand. In total honesty and transparency, it is also one of the main source of revenue for a soccer club. So it's a huge decision, and it's obviously a relationship that then will shape the club. When we started the search 8 months ago, even though because of Inter Miami is an expansion franchise, that search started actually back in 2019. Obviously, previously the different front office, then pandemic hit, so everything was a bit, of a struggle in terms of commercial. So we started 8 months ago again, and at the time, FTX and the crypto space in general was growing and growing. I myself, very interested in the space, so it's something that we started looking with a bigger lens. And so we were very lucky to get in touch with XBTO right at the beginning, I would say. And I remember hosting Philippe and the rest of the team at the stadium for a game. And I guess going back to the French connection, that's always a play when you talk about these type of big deals, right? There is always has to be some of irrational and intangible. And that connection between Philippe, French soccer was for us a big booster. Then obviously, we were in the market. We've been talking to different brands. Many crypto are coming down to Miami. We have Mayor Francis. They have the ability to, attract and turn South Florida into a hub for crypto, which is great for everybody. It was great for Inter Miami, but it's not just about the right partner, right? It's about the growth of the entire landscape, the growth of the property, and obviously XBTO can add a lot of value.
Now let's go behind the scenes, because you're a very public-facing company. This is a major sports leagues franchise in a major American city. You're going to draw a lot of attention and a lot of ire, maybe sometimes criticism. But let's go behind the scenes. How does the search start? Was it you contacting 10 top brands that are in the industry? Are you working through an agency or marketers, and they're giving you options of people who are looking to just invest X amount of dollars over X amount of years for the sponsorship? What's going on?
Well, it's very interesting. Probably as a professional and in charge of the commercial and the revenue, or like not just for Inter Miami, but in general every property. When you are entitled, and obviously they say go out in the market and look for a multi-million-dollar contract. It's always fun, but it's challenging. You're competing with a lot of brands. You're competing with a lot of properties, and so you gotta be able to narrow it down as much as possible. Know who you're looking for, who you're going after. That's the priority. So crypto space in general was probably category 1, 2, 3 in terms of we decided to go after a very strict number of categories to go after. Why? When you go
what other categories? Just curious.
Categories broadly, like, it's not defined. It's more something that we determine in a certain period of time, looking at the economics, looking at the markets, looking at what's hot, what's growing. You will never go to an airline category after pandemic and ask for multi-million-dollar contracts, because you know that there is obviously that struggle and the priorities for them are somewhere else. So you look at the time, the moment in history, crypto was obviously with fintech. We can say that just to give you an idea. Fintech, crypto, those type of categories that are growing, industry that are obviously have an important cash flow, then also need awareness, which is always the priority number one for a jersey partnership or a naming rights deal, right? To be a mainstream brand, sports is probably one of the best way to accelerate that process. So we were in the market for those type of categories, and we stumbled and came across XBTO through a colleague of mine that was working in my department that sent an email to the CEO, Philippe. And that's how everything started. And then they were here, we were here, we started nurturing that relationship. We took them to the stadium. We did everything that we usually do, but obviously that connection from the beginning of them wanting something like this and us looking for exactly the right partnership that XBTO could provide us, then, the marriage happened.
All right, so the email goes out, you're connected. Joe, let me kick it over to you. What attracted you guys to Inter Miami? How did that work? You got the email from them. Were you already talking about naming rights and sponsorship rights, or was this something that was first, new on the table and you weren't sure how to navigate?
Yeah, I mean, I think the latter is more accurate, to be honest with you, than the former. Just to digress, because I think a little context will make everything make sense. XBTO was started in 2015, and the first line of business was streaming markets to some of the exchanges. Now, this was back in a time where on Gemini, for instance, which is one of the major exchanges, that there was no offers and there was only bids to buy Bitcoin. So we were committed to make two-way markets on Gemini and a bunch of other exchanges, and we were the first. So that was way back in the days when Bitcoin price was a lot lower. But we cut our teeth in the early days, and then we went on to be one of the first algo prop traders. And one of the early venture investors, and we've grown significantly, obviously, from 3 people to over 80 people. And we've been known as one of the major players inside the crypto industry, but we were very inward looking. We're one of the major firms that don't use third-party money, i.e. we're only using our own capital. So, earlier this year, we were looking for a platform and a way and a strategy to really kind of go from a very inward-looking firm, both from an investing standpoint, as well as a public exposure standpoint, to an outward-looking firm. And that email was sent to Philippe. It was forwarded around to a few folks, including myself, and we got on the phone, and we started talking. And then, kind of from a strategic standpoint, it made a lot of sense that we used the partnership with Inter Miami as a platform kind of as our coming out, so to speak, from very, again, inward-looking organization to an outward-looking organization.
Yeah, because in the crypto space, you guys are like inside players. You're inside baseball, so to speak. You're servicing markets. You're not, a big exchange servicing millions of clients. What was the goal in doing a partnership like this? And we'll really get into the weeds in a second, but just, was there a mandate from the company? Hey, we want to now attract retail investors. We want to service customers. What was kind of the behind the scenes machinations going on?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, because what was going behind the scenes was really in a self-reflection for the folks at XBTO in terms of what do we want to be? And, do we always want to be inwardly focused, the big guys at the Bitcoin conference party? Or do we really want to, have external investors and do business beyond what has, to date been, prop oriented? And the answer was clearly that we wanted to have a more public face, and that, it's good for, name recognition, it's good for branding, picking the right partner is good for branding, and it's good for our credibility. So that was the strategic thinking behind it, and it just so happened that this time of XBTO self-reflection happened at the same time that we were introduced to Nico and his team at Inter Miami.
All right. So, and again, this is a process that just entire cities see, one day a major league sports franchise then has a new sponsor, and then the stadium is named new, but there's no kind of process that we see here. So it's interesting diving and getting that kind of behind the scenes look and action. So then, Nico and Joe, you guys get in touch. XBTO, Inter Miami, two big names in the Miami community here. What happens there? Is it a site visit? Is it back and forth negotiations? An offer up front? What started happening, Nico?
So yeah, in terms of steps, there are the usual steps that we take, obviously, with partnership. It's slightly different when we're talking about the most important partner of an organization. But in terms of flow, after the first initial emails, conversation, calls, Philippe is somebody that travel across the globe quite some time. So we made sure to pin a date, and we took the entire team to the stadium for a game. We obviously had the ability to provide them the best possible experience. At Drive Pink Stadium, we do have those beautiful suites that are field level, which for a lover of soccer is something quite interesting and peculiar, because it's almost being in LA watching the Lakers courtside. So that experience,
and I just want to describe that for people listening, because Inter Miami's stadium, it's super interesting, very unique in the world of sports, where you have these sponsor suites and these owner suites literally on the field, on the pitch, so to speak. It's like right behind the dugout. Most boxes, you're 2 levels up, way away from the action. This is, you're right in it. You're really experiencing the game. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely. And from a client standpoint, sorry to butt in, I just want a sample size of one firsthand experience. It's amazing because we, one of the utilities or tactical advantages of having is when we have clients or friends in town, we're right there. Miguel Higuain, walks by and, whatever, it's half hour after the game, but I have a chit chat with him, and, that's unlike any other sports experience that I've had, and it's great.
And I guess that's Adrian, the key differentiator. I guess it's that ability to mix the sport and the entertainment space that Americans, love about sports as well. So when you are, pitch side, and obviously you have our owners, David, walking by and the players walking by, it turns into an entertainment and a show and a place to be, almost, without forgetting about the pitch and the performance on the pitch. That is very important as well. But that's something unique about Miami, something about our Drive Pink Stadium that is very attractive. I was going to take a step back and say that Joe mentioned credibility about this partnership, which I think it's a very unique piece, in the sense that what we're seeing happening with the FTX, what we're seeing happening with the crypto.com and all the other companies, Coinbase with the MBA, there is a focus that is primarily business to consumer. So they serve, like you said, millions of clients, and is almost becoming a fight on who is gonna, have more traffic on their exchanges. Here we're talking about completely different deals. We're talking about an institutional, a relationship, government, city, and etc. So it's a different play. Of course, there is a piece of brand awareness to say XBTO is the leader in crypto finance, but there is something that is deeper than the usual brand awareness piece, and it's something that connects helps connects XBTO through Inter-Miami, through government, through institutional, to individuals. That's also an important piece that played a huge role in this deal.
Yeah, because obviously the mayor, Suarez, who I know well and have been on panels with, has been super forward facing. We were talking to him about crypto. I was at CNBC before this in 2018. So we've seen the future and we're experiencing it. It's a multi-million-dollar partnership over many years. Joe, what do you guys get out of this partnership? What is XBTO's benefit, so to speak?
I'll first start out with the tactical and then go to the strategic. The tactical, and I already covered some of them, is it's great to have clients associated and with the club like that with Inter-Miami. They're great people. When we bring clients there, they're always have a good time. They're always impressed, and it's really a fun atmosphere. And not for nothing, and this goes back to one of the reasons we got together, is we have a very good friend who's very good friends with the co-owners, with David Beckham, the Moss brothers, Jorge and Jose, and just having a relationship with them not only enhances our presence in the Miami area, but provides a good platform, at least a local platform for us to do our business here in Miami, which is hugely important to us. Then from the strategic standpoint, I talked about the exposure. Given what I said about our history, it was important for us to kind of go again from an inward looking, and I know I'm repeating myself, to an outward looking. And you can't get much more outward looking to be than to be flashed on a jersey of one of the major sports teams in the U.S.
For the lay consumer, is there an ROI out there? Is there like a measurable metric to say, oh, we got this amount of eyeballs, et cetera?
The ROI is this is the second advantage I was going to talk about, is in the branding. The ROI, is the answer. If we were a classic retail, like we had a phone app, right, and we had 0 consumers, before, and then we had X million afterwards, you can say, oh, this at least partially gets credited to our Inter-Miami sponsorship. For us, there's not the direct ROI, but to the extent that we're dealing with more and more institutions, both as investors and trading partners, it does increase us, because this is a little bit in the weeds, but it's very true. If an institutional investor wants to do business with us, and they do their classic due diligence, and one of those is to do a simple Google search. And when they do a Google search, a year ago, they see XBTO. Oh, it has a nice website. They say they're this and that. They may make some due diligence phone calls in regards to, whether they're credible or not. But when that same institutional investor or that high net worth person or a family office Googles it, the first thing they'll see is a major sponsorship deal, which goes to the third point of the strategic reasons why we entered this. It adds credibility. And the ROI, to the extent that somebody at XYZ management in New York that's running $6 billion decides to invest with us, looks it up and says, hey, on the margin, these guys are credible because they have this exposure, and not for nothing, the MLS did the due diligence process on us. Everything went fine, so that does add the element of credibility, which is very important for us. Hard to measure on an ROI basis, but important to our business.
So just a couple minutes and we're wrapping up. Nico, how has XBTO helped Inter Miami? How has Inter Miami benefited from this? You're seeing more activity in crypto, or is it behind the scenes and some institutional machinations?
I think it's a process. I think it's a process that started with the announcement. There's a clear vision from our ownership group to be very innovative and disruptive in the way to do things. Now, we still are a football club. So in order for us to improve, to grow, to be different, to be diverse, the ability to bring in partners like XBTO in this matter and bring in expertise that can obviously, amplify, expand our vision and help us obviously execute new things. It's a major key. In regards to XBTO and Inter Miami, there are things in the pipeline that we will work on all together. But there are some simple stuff that we will take on, such as, educational sessions for our players to get to know the crypto space and to be interested in something that is not new because it started back in 2008, but it's becoming more and more mainstream. We want to provide those tools. And through XBTO, we have those tools. Educational for employees. Then obviously, we want to be very, very fast in getting in some places, but obviously there are legislation, there is a league, there are governments. So we will have to do so many things. And with Joe, we always laugh about it. But we have to take a look at different projects and be very realistic on how we implement it. But generally speaking, XBTO will help Inter Miami change mindset in terms of how we see the property and how people, look at us as well. We want to be different. Crypto is a new space that we are very interested in, and we will do more and more with them. That's the goal.
Educating employees. And Mark, I just want to check on the timing. Are we till 11, or we can be taking Q&As, etc.? You're muted, Mark. You're muted.
Indeed, I made the mistake. Yes, you have until 11 a.m.
Perfect. So we can go much more in the weeds on the crypto front because people do want to hear, and people are interested in the public markets in terms of what's happening in crypto. Let's talk about your educating employees. Is this happening? Is XBTO helping maybe athletes, maybe on the corporate side of things, educating on the crypto front? Joe?
There's yes is the answer to that. And I mean, that's one of the great joys of the partnership is talking to not only, the folks in the office, because Nico is a nice guy, but he's not as cool as some of the players. And we formed a relationship with one of the players, Kieran Gibbs, who for selfish reasons, I have a soft spot for because I'm an Arsenal fan. Many people may know that he spent the bulk of his career at Arsenal. Then he went to West Brom, and now he's with Inter Miami. But he have multiple things, work streams with Kieran. One is very crypto oriented that we're going to announce in a few weeks. And then,
can we get a hint of an announcement? What's
it's going to be an announcement. It's not going to be surprising because other athletes have, other non-MLS athletes have made similar announcements. So Kieran Gibbs is our partner to make this announcement.
So I'm thinking that there's been a lot of noise in the NFL and NBA, and we know some of the players have taken their salaries in Bitcoin. I'm not a maximalist. I think you should be well positioned across various cryptos. I think you can take portions in Bitcoin, some in Ethereum, some in other emerging L1 solutions and projects. So I'm not sure what
that's a very good portfolio management answer in regards to your accepting salary in Bitcoin. But yeah, there will be an announcement. It probably will be around the time of Art Basel, which would be great. But he's just, and again, this is more personal than anything else. Being with the folks at Inter Miami is just a pleasure because it's very serious. Obviously, there's a lot of dollars involved, but it's just fun to work with the folks. And where I'm broadcasting from is the same conference room that Kieran sat across from me for an hour and a half. And it's good to form relationships like that.
Nico, so has there been generated interest in crypto among the folks at Miami since the partnership was announced, or were you already kind of involved and it was just which crypto partner to pick?
I think there is a general mindset, especially within the front office. So I'm talking about employees. We are a young, sports organizations, not just because we're an expansion franchise, but the general employees is a millennial guy or girl that obviously are looking at crypto with interest. So when we were working on this, I was glad that obviously XBTO became the sponsor, because they're very close to us. Close meaning that they're present. They're here in Miami. So one of the few projects that we will launch next season is we're going to create an educational session. And I'm not talking about Crypto 101 for employees. And some employees are, far more down the road. I myself, got in crypto a year ago or so. Others are just entering. But what's important to me, specifically personally, is to be able to provide through a partner knowledge and expertise, so that the partner can come and can educate our employees. That obviously goes into the players as well. The players are by default, as Joe said, more attractive, because an interest from a players can then unlock many different opportunities. But the front office is important as well. And it's important for us to provide that visibility, that opportunity, because I think it's something that in this market, it's a must. And when we signed the deal, I had many folks from the organization reaching out and said, when are we doing this session? So they're ready to sign up. So it's obviously the interest that we've seen across the country, across the globe. We just want to make sure as an organization, we are providing the right tools, right? It's not just a partnership that it's right there. Thank you, this is the contract. No, what are we doing to improve both inside as an organization? And then obviously what you see on the outside is the projects that we will do. Kieran is a great guy that has been very helpful throughout the entire process, but also from an HR standpoint, from a corporate standpoint, this is very important to us.
Yeah. Was there ever any talk? I mean, you've had major corporations like Tesla, formerly MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, rolling over corporate profits into Bitcoin specifically. Any talk of that whatsoever?
It's definitely, Joe, if you allow me, it's definitely something that we're looking at. I would love to get into the weeds of the other corporates when they come up with this type of announcement, because they obviously have, better executions and better expertise on some sense. We are, and I go back to it, a football club. So when it comes to this point of changing drastically, it's a process. We cannot pretend that we're gonna, have Bitcoin on the balance sheet in a month, or we cannot pretend that we're gonna pay the front office in Bitcoin in 2 months. It's gonna take a little bit of time. With that being said, there is the will, and I think there is the interest from the property to explore all of the above. And it's something that we will consider, not just because it's something to do, but because it's something that we truly believe in. And obviously, again, the city, the mayor, the government is helping us to be able to maximize and go along with that type of trend. That is a trend.
Just look at what the Miami Stacks project. Well, Stacks has been built on Bitcoin, and the Miami coin is built on that, and that's going into a worker fund with the city of Miami. City of Miami is enabling employees to be paid in Bitcoin, et cetera. Look, someone working in crypto and has been working in crypto for a number of years now, I don't believe it as a replacement thesis. This is not, the new financial system. I think it's a spoke in the wheel of the financial system. It gives people tools that may not have had access before to financial products and savings mechanisms and speculation. Sure, it's absolutely a speculative product. So do be careful. Do your own research. It's not financial advice. Joe, what are you seeing out there?
Thanks for the disclaimer.
Absolutely.
I repeat Adrian's disclaimer.
There you go. What are you seeing out there on the corporate landscape where, again, you're a major company dealing with forward-facing corporations and teams like Miami? What are you seeing interest-wise of other companies, other teams, other big names out there getting involved in crypto?
Sure. Yeah, and first, started with the disclaimer. This isn't XBTO's point of view, but more kind of a macro commentary and how I see crypto fitting in. We could talk about this for hours, days, because this is a big topic. And, there's many different areas. There's crypto, putting, an alternative currency on your balance sheet, which I think has credibility. Have I drunk the Kool-Aid? Am I a maximalist? Not necessarily, but, does everybody want US dollars on their, balance sheet? And everybody can make the decision for themselves. Then there's like the payment system, and the technology behind it, which is different, which is kind of, the blockchain technology is weaving its way into the more traditional finance system. So from a technology standpoint, crypto is going to, and we see corporations, and we deal with corporations that are using blockchain technology, both kind of on the back end, payment systems or other, and then there's other corporations that are starting to warm up to the idea of putting a cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or other, on the balance sheet. And people, what we have seen, and this is only accelerated over the last 6 months, that people are putting the money where their mouth is. And this, not coincidentally, is going to be part of the announcement. Is some people are really, saying, hey, this is for real. We're going to move in the direction of having these alternative currencies as part of not necessarily my corporate portfolio, but my institutional portfolio or my personal portfolio.
Yeah, I was just in Lisbon last week at the Solana conference. Solana is another L1 blockchain solution, and you saw a lot of corporate interest there from a lot of European companies, just seeing how they can use the technology as a settlement layer and on the back end in terms of blockchain. Nico, what sort of press and what sort of just kind of momentum and interest did you see when you guys made the announcement? What sort of fanfare happened, or was there a lot of kind of like raised eyebrows and unsure what XBTO was?
I guess it's a good mix. I guess the fans showed very much excitement for the main reason of having finally a jersey sponsor, and the jersey partner has been, awaited, has been a long time coming, as we said in the beginning of the panel. So the fan base obviously recognizing that the club is moving forward and bringing on a partner for the front of the jersey is major, and we gotta say that sometimes brands don't look too good on a jersey. I think XBTO shield and logo perfectly fit our beautiful white and black jersey. So that's
the right answer.
Right? That's correct. That's the first win for the fans. Seeing that the club is doing everything and everything to grow is the second reactions that we got. The third one is obviously interest, right? And again, this is a very interesting company, XBTO, because like we said, it's more institutional, more, in the relationship business than in the consumer facing. But that doesn't mean that we will take actions to reward fans and to find ways to engage with them. And I think, moving a bit on the blockchain technology and everything that comes with it, in the future, we will be looking together at projects that can engage the fan base digitally on a blockchain, whatever the case might be. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to do them all, because there is always the question, can we do those things? Are they feasible within this market and within this league? However, that's the goal. Transform XBTO also on a brand that interacts with our fans, and Joe has become very, very close to our supporters groups, which are phenomenal because they show up and sing for 90 minutes each game. And that's the direction we will take. On the blockchain piece, and going back to what you were saying, there is the interesting from properties, because we're not talking specifically crypto. We're talking about new technology that allows opportunities and to improve the space, the sports landscape. So I think we will explore little by little, both from a fan engagement standpoint, and then how Inter Miami can leverage the blockchain technology to improve, whether it's ticketing, whether it's payment at the stadium, and etc. Again, it's not going to happen in 2 months, but little by little, we'll start exploring what's possible.
Yeah, and Joe, my director of marketing is sitting next to me, and I would be remiss, and she'd hit me if I didn't mention NFTs and are leveraging NFTs to our mutual benefit and to get fan engagement, which will, be great for both organizations.
You can and should use Eternity, an incredible NFT platform out there for NFT delivery. You can reach me after that. Joe, Joe, FTX is giving away crypto left and right to fans in certain sections at the Heat Arena. Any plan for some giveaways at the next Inter Miami game next season?
Yes, the form of that.
Don't give away too much, Joe.
The form of that is TBD. And Nico wants me to be parsimonious with our purse strings, but we'll figure that out. But fun stuff, mutual engagement via NFTs or other is in the works, and I think both the fans of Inter Miami, especially the fans in the stadium, are going to be super thrilled with some of the stuff we have planned.
Wow. Okay. Exciting announcements. We're making news here at the French American Chamber of Commerce of Florida Conference, Miami
Live unspecified things to come.
We have an announcement with a player coming up. We have an announcement of crypto giveaways. So everybody definitely.
I didn't say crypto giveaways. I said giveaways.
Oh, yes, giveaways. Definitely be planning on attending the Inter Miami slate of games next season. Nico, when does the season restart? What can we look forward to announcement-wise, or anything exciting coming up next season?
Well, we disclosed a lot already, so I'm going to try to be very, button up. But season will start end of February, around February 26. It will run for the first time after the pandemic on a regular schedule. That means 32 weeks of games, 34 games total, 17 at home and then 17 away. We will conclude and end on decision day in the beginning of October. And then obviously, hopefully, Inter Miami will make the playoff and we'll go into the ride for the first time with XBTO on our jerseys. In terms of disclosing, I don't have here my SVP of brand and marketing, so I can say that the new jersey for next season will be something special. And obviously XBTO on it will look even better, but it's something that we will start announcing very, very soon.
That's such a Miami thing, having new, cooler jerseys every year. Like Indianapolis and Pittsburgh aren't making any jersey changes from year to year, but leave it to Miami and we're styling each and every season.
It's lifestyle and it's the colors, so everything helps.
Yeah, 100%. We do have a question which we haven't gotten to, and I want to turn it over to this question from the audience. Chris Benedict asked, does any partner with local indoor soccer places to help engage the Miami soccer community? Key in community development, I would say. Urban Soccer 5 in Miami has a partnership with Olympique de Marseille in France. Nico, any news on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's two tales, right? One is when we talk about grassroots, we talk about youth. There are two ways. One is the Academy of Inter Miami that we try to stay at the highest standard possible. We were one of the first academies. You didn't have to pay to be in Inter Miami. You're good, you participate, you grow, and obviously one day you become a pro. There's a lot of talent in South Florida, so we're tapping into that talent and try to give the right resources. That's top priority on the sporting side, but obviously it's youth. When it comes to grassroots, we have a great community programs across Miami-Dade, Broward County. Obviously we have a brand, right? So we want to go into the market with our brand, and we'll try to put that out there to create fans, right? To give resources for the communities, but then to transform those young kids into fans, because Inter Miami is here to stay. We will partner up with different soccer spaces. We just announced in Kendall Soccer Park last week. Jorge Mas was there, Kieran Gibbs was there. So we're doing a lot in the community. That's just who we are. We understand completely that we are a global brand, but at the same time, the importance of our local community is a top priority for us. So we will continue this type of initiatives.
Yeah. And Joe, are you guys involving in any of those efforts, or supportive, or just general thoughts on teams having those responsibilities as we turn Nico to gray? But it's okay. We can keep talking.
This comment's more regarding community involvement than it is kind of specific sports, but I think it's important. It's important for us. I think it's important for Inter Miami. I don't want to speak for them to be more engaged in the community in general. We look forward to partnering with folks like the Downtown Development Association and doing stuff, partnering with local artists in terms of doing stuff for in Wynwood. It's very important for us as a culture, and I'm talking about the 80 people that work here, to be involved and being in Miami. And we're new to Miami. We're only been here like a lot of New Yorkers. We've only been here for about a year and a half, but we want to make an impact. We're making impact commercially by being a partner with Inter Miami. But one of our goals, one of our hopes, and again, this comes from an intercultural, inward-looking cultural perspective, is to be more involved in the community, and we have plans which are going to come to fruition over the next few months with various partnerships within Miami.
Got it. So Mark, you guys at the French American Chamber of Commerce Florida and Miami Live 2021 have done an incredible job. You've had a great slate of guest speakers. The mayor kicked it off, right? Just give us a quick overview, because then we're going to talk some crypto talk and see how Inter Miami and XBTO interrelate to some of the other panelists here. Who have you had on and who's coming?
Fabulous. Yes, we've had quite a big lineup so far. We kicked off yesterday with Mayor Suarez, who really developed his vision of tech in Miami, and Miami being a tech hub. So that was very exciting. But it's not news to you. It's been a little while now. He's been doing this. Yet we see the tech coming to Miami. And we had an exciting day with general overview of the tech hub. And today is more about local dive. So we've had the medical application of tech, biotech. We're going into aerospace right after this session, and it couldn't be more exciting. And the lineup has been incredible. Right, Rachel has done a tremendous job. So really, thank you for being part of it. And you can deep dive into crypto as much as you want.
Who else do you have
from
who else do you have from crypto on the slate?
On the slate, well, the crypto itself, it's very much XBTO. That's with us, and for the crypto part, I couldn't go deeper in the subject, because it's mostly tech companies not really versed into crypto. But
all right, so if it's okay with Joe and Nico, let's talk some crypto, but
Sure.
And then we'll wrap up with some of the Jersey partnership talks, and then what's to come. So Joe, let's take a 60,000 foot view of the market, right? So we've had dating back to the pandemic when Bitcoin was 4,500, and we've had some peaks and valleys. Peaked out at 68,000, and now we're under 60,000 today. Some people are calling it a bear flag. Other people are saying this is just a big, a slight pullback before a big run up into December. Your thoughts on the market in general right now?
Okay. Again, start with the disclaimer. This is my opinion, not XBTO's. We are not a financial advisor. But I'll mainly put what my view is in kind of historical context. Historical context being, well, the land of crypto the last few weeks is history. But I think this latest move was in large part of the the inflation news in the broader economies, and people seeing, and this is the 60,000 foot comment, people seeing Bitcoin as a store of value, and that is driving the price. And that, I think, topic was very esoteric a year ago, but I think a lot more and more people, especially on the investor side, are warming up to that. The idea that Bitcoin, is an alternative source of value, just like gold is, and in many ways much, better than gold for many reasons. I know that doesn't answer your question directly. I'm not telling you where I think Bitcoin's going, but I think it explains a lot of what has gone on the last few weeks.
Yesterday's pullback under 60K, because we were at 60K for a good long while, the longest we'd ever been there. Is this a downward trend, or you think we're bouncing back up?
That's a great question. So back in the day, I used to get on TV because they asked me the same question: why did the S&P go down? And yesterday's action specifically, I didn't see anything. It broke, when it broke 60,000, it was a big technical barrier, which I know was kind of a pat non-answer, but I think honestly that's what it is. It's had a huge run up over the last few months. I think seeing action like this is not abnormal. I think that was more of a market reaction than anything fundamental.
Bitcoin to 100K this cycle, or no?
I'm not predicting the price of Bitcoin. Sorry. I own it in my personal wallet, if that is an indication of where my view is.
There you go. I can tell you that there are some analysts that call for Bitcoin to 100K. I would say that's 83 to 94. I think we'd range in there as a top for this next cycle. Nico, what do you like? You said you've gotten into crypto a year ago. Is it the technology that drew you in, the community, the fact that you guys partner with XBTO? What really drew you in as a lay consumer?
Well, I guess, I live, like I said, in New York, and I have many friends, close friends as well, into the finance, fintech. So, I work in sports, which is a totally different industry. But as the two collide lately, I got more and more involved and interested. And I'm by default very curious. So I started to read about it. I started to educate myself about it, started to talk about with other people and experts, and I decided to go in. I think I'm very fascinated by the technology behind it. I'm very fascinated with the innovation behind it. And again, you kind of don't want to miss out on something that is potentially revolutionary. So I decided to go in. Currently, personally, I'm on Bitcoin and Ethereum mainly, and then obviously there are a couple of projects out there that are interesting. The space is growing very, very fast. So recommendations to other people like me that are entering the space, and it's educate yourself and make sure to understand at least the basics, right? The overall arching blockchain, Bitcoin, the history behind it, the technology behind it. You don't have to get into the white paper of every single coin, but at least generally inform yourself and then make your own decision. I think it's definitely a very, very exciting space, and I think it will be for the next years to come for sure.
Yeah, and don't buy meme coins.
Yes, don't buy meme coins. Just one comment to dovetail off what Nico said, which is very important. I think it's very important also for the people in the audience here, is that crypto can be intimidating. Blockchain can be intimidating, and I think there's a trepidation on folks to not ask questions. I'm a big fan. I have a fancy Ivy League degree. I'm, have had this very technical background, but what I do is I ask very basic questions, and I encourage everyone here on this that's listening to ask Nico, ask me, ask whomever your crypto friend is, just very basic questions, because it is somewhat complicated subject, but crypto is going to creep into our daily lives. It may not be Bitcoin now, but Blockstream or different ways of making payments. So asking questions now to any of us or any of your friends is a good start, and I encourage everyone to do just that, because it's in these conversations that you become more informed, relationships are built, and then like us, business deals are made.
Yeah, and what I've seen working in the industry, and I was in media for a long time, so I covered all these different industries and really inside looks. And there's something to be said for the culture of crypto and the sense of community of crypto, because yes, we're disrupting the financial space, right? Just as Bitcoin disrupted currency, blockchain is disrupting tech, NFTs are disrupting content. There's people kind of coalescing around this. And again, I don't think it's a replacement to anything, but it's an additional added layer that's making things very interesting. And narrative-wise, what we see happening from my expert kind of viewpoint is that you had Bitcoin, revolutionized currency. You had Ethereum come out and really build up the blockchain after Satoshi's invention. You had all these L1s in 2017, new blockchains come out to try and kind of compete with the likes of Ethereum, Cosmos, Solana, AVAX, Phantom, EOS, you name it. What happened? We went into a bear market where people built products and built projects. And Ethereum, you saw DeFi summer, you saw DeFi come out of that bear market after the pandemic, built on Ethereum, NFTs, play to earn gaming. And now we're in the kind of summer of Bitcoin 2 or DeFi 2.0, where the different L1s are building their different products and projects, just like the Ethereum ecosystem did. So it's DeFi on all those layers. So there's a lot of interesting opportunities, a lot of interesting new projects and developments across chain. If you're looking at it, get involved, see that ecosystem in full, and kind of pepper your interests around there. So, gentlemen, closing thoughts.
Hey, yeah, I have one more French story, if I may.
Yeah.
So
we got 2 minutes.
This will take 45 seconds. So one of the clinchers of the deal, David Beckham sent Philippe, our CEO and founder, a 2-minute unsolicited video waxing on about his days playing at PSG. And we were already, I shouldn't tell Nico this, but I will because he's our partner. We were kind of leaning towards it anyways, but that really clinched the deal. When David Beckham was waxing on about his days in Paris, the tears started falling in Philippe's eyes, and we said, we got to do this deal.
There you go. Nico, your closing thoughts.
No, I appreciate the talk and thank you for the time. I think again, it was great to educate the audience, and it's interesting, to be able to merge two worlds, that it's sports and crypto. And I think there is a lot of learnings behind every story. So I appreciate the time, and thank you, Adrian, for moderating wonderfully this panel. Grazie mille.
There we go. Thank you.
Thanks,
Mark, we're going to kick it back over to you.
Thank you. Merci. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for being with us. And this wraps up our session. Yet you can carry on discussions with partners and sponsors in the expo area, and also the networking tab. Just a quick reminder for randomly meet and greeting people. That's really, really good. All right. Have a great one. Thank you for being with us. And see you in the next session.